Hey everyone, Gill Gross here. Post-match, Rafael Nadal versus Stefanos Tsitsipas 2021 Australian Open quarterfinal. Tsitsipas becomes one of three men ever to beat Nadal after going down 2-0. And what a poetic progression this has been for the Greek. A massive, massive breakthrough win at a major of the likes he hasn't had since the 2019 Australian Open when he beat Roger Federer. And ever since then, it had been a string of frustrating and in some cases avoidable losses at majors. Now, he did make the semifinal at last year's Roland Garros, and then he lost to Novak Djokovic in a very valiant 5-set battle. And it's an accomplishment in itself, taking Djokovic to 5 and then taking Nadal to 5 in back-to-back majors. But in this one, he actually got over the finish line. And that's been the problem. That's been the concern from the very start with Tsitsipas, is not that he didn't have the game to challenge these guys. It's always been so clear that he does have the game to beat anyone in the world on most surfaces. But very often he didn't find his best tennis when he needed it, and he could not raise his level at the right moments in a best-of-5 set tennis match when the pressure is on. He could not do that well enough to come up with big wins like he got in this one. So a massive breakthrough for Tsitsipas without a doubt. And he was outclassed in the first two sets. I mainly want to focus on how the next three sets played out for the most part. But in simple terms, the first two sets looked like the reason why Nadal had a 5-1 head-to-head edge coming into this match. Just getting so much payoff from his serve and his first strike tennis. And then he made a great adjustment in the first set, moving back on the return. And then he put some returns in play, and the counterattacking was excellent by Nadal in a lot of huge moments. Tsitsipas just not quite good enough on his front foot attacking, his down the line shots or his inside in forehands just bleeding too far into the center of the court, and Nadal taking advantage by really hammering the ball to the open court on the counterattack. He got Tsitsipas with that numerous times, but it was an unbelievably clean couple of sets by Nadal, especially on the forehand side, particularly on the forehand side, and masterfully putting pressure on the Tsitsipas backhand, winning the serve return dynamic, and putting himself in a position to win this match. I felt that a big part of why the dynamic of the match flipped was about energy. Now, why did this happen? Let's really kind of sink our teeth into this, because a lot of the times when I say things like that, people might have an eyebrow raised. Oh, are you taking credit away from Tsitsipas by saying Nadal was tired? Well, let's get rid of that notion that that's what I'm saying, because I'm not. All right, here's a couple factors for why that happened. Why did Tsitsipas have so much more in the tank throughout the latter stages of this match, which enabled him to move more explosively and to ultimately develop an advantage from the back of the court, which is what I believe happened? Well, first of all, I want to give credit to Tsitsipas staying calm and poised and maintaining his composure while he was getting destroyed. He did not waste his energy getting angry or getting desperate, right? And how key might that have been? Maybe a younger version of Tsitsipas might have burnt himself out. I was just amazed watching the match at how calm Tsitsipas remained despite losing really, really badly in those opening two sets. And then his serve picked up. It was a serve dominant third set for sure. And then we get to the tiebreak, and Nadal makes some shocking errors, some shocking mistakes. He misses an overhead at one love. He misses another overhead At 3-all, he shanks a backhand at 4-3. He makes an error on set point at 4-6, a backhand error. So, and then I thought he was very passive on a 5-3 point, but basically very poor tiebreak and pretty puzzling at the time. You know, why did he play like that? You know, that was strange for Nadal. And then I got to say, I do think that we got our answer over the course of the next two sets. I think that it's very possible that he was feeling himself physically fading. And as a result of that, he felt a lot of pressure to win that tiebreak. And it's very hard to win like that. It's very hard to win with the mentality like, okay, I better close this out now because I'm getting tired. Because he seemed pretty tired in that fourth set, and then he picked up his energy in the fifth set. But again, he wasn't able to maintain a high enough level of, or he wasn't able to remain mistake-free. If you look at the key games in the fourth set, it was Nadal at 4-all from add-in, forehand error, deuce, forehand error, add-out, forehand error. Go back and watch those misses. You'll see they look tired. And then, of course, in the fifth set, in the 5-all game, you have forehand error, backhand error, forehand error. They're all unforced in that 5-all game in the fifth set, and Tsitsipas serves it out and shows some guts, saves a match point. But Nadal knows that against a player as good as Tsitsipas, he cannot make as many mistakes as he did in big points. Knows that. There's not enough of a gap between Rafael Nadal and Stefanos Tsitsipas, if there's a gap at all. There's not a big enough gap for Nadal to give away some of the points that he gave away. And I think that he would be the first one to admit that. But again, I think it goes back to energy level. So delving a little bit deeper into that. So the first thing you have is you have Tsitsipas not burning himself out and showing an incredible display of conditioning and fitness in this match. But then you have, one, the fact that he's making Nadal play a copious number of extra balls, and especially when the conditions got a little bit slower as the temperatures dropped, I think Tsitsipas was making it so hard on Nadal to finish points from the baseline off the ground. And that played into why Nadal's gas tank was getting drained. Then, of course, you have the time on court leading up, and Tsitsipas getting the withdrawal from Berrettini, and playing the really quick match against Elias Ymer in the round prior, which was a good matchup for Tsitsipas. And Nadal not really making quick work. Well, actually, no, he did make quick work. So Nadal came in without too much time on the court, but obviously he didn't get the entire round of 16 off, right? Then you have the back factor for Nadal. How much time while he was nursing an injury, how much time did he spend on rehabilitation that he was not spending in other areas that could have made him more prepared to play this tournament and to be in the best condition possible? Who knows? Of course, the quarantine, both players have that. That is also a different kind of circumstance. But lastly, and most importantly, age. Because this is the dynamic that we should kind of expect. This should happen sometimes. With Nadal and Tsitsipas having the age gap, the youthful gap that they do, why wouldn't we expect Tsitsipas to have the fresher legs at the end there? We should at this point. We shouldn't be that surprised. Now, maybe there's going to be other examples where this match could be played again and the circumstances might be different, and we'll see if the result is different in terms of energy levels. But it shouldn't be completely shocking to us that this was the case when it comes to energy, given the age gap, and then the circumstances I just mentioned. Again, I do think that the mistakes that we saw by Nadal, the incredibly uncharacteristic mistakes, are probably a result of how he was feeling physically, how tired he was. No injury. It's not about the back being injured, because I don't think it was, and he said it wasn't, but still those things could have an effect. What was Tsitsipas able to do in the latter two sets especially that was different in this matchup? Well, one, I think that he simplified the baseline rallies. I think that he went down the line more selectively here with his forehand. I thought that he hammered Nadal's backhand and went behind him over and over and over again, using his cross-court forehand and in some cases his backhand down the line, but mostly his cross-court forehand. And that took away the counterattack for Nadal that was so effective in sets 1 and 2. And it did make Nadal tired, having to change direction. It sharpened the angles, though, and opened up the court better. Tsitsipas was not opening up the court well with his forehand down the line. He had much better success finding chances and openings and balls to attack, going cross-court with the forehand more often. And then the down-the-line forehand got better. It got more effective because it was more of a change-up, and everything was working a lot better. I also think that Nadal lost some explosiveness in his movement, while Tsitsipas had a much better ability to extend points defensively. He really did have a power and speed advantage in the rallies. Thought directionally he got much more tame, much more sound, lengthened the rallies, simplified, enabled himself to be more consistent by going cross-court more on the forehand. On the backhand, though, might have been the biggest key, because I've never seen him protect his backhand so well against Rafa Nadal. He was taking it early, on the rise, flat, cross-court, daring Nadal to hit that change of direction on his forehand, one that he was not able to execute enough. But he was really just the pace that he was hitting his backhand with, and thought that was the way he was really able to fend off Nadal and to remain unattackable, is because he was simply getting enough behind it. But again, it really reminded me of Roger Federer 2017 and beyond, how he was getting on top of the baseline and flattening out his backhand to try to not let it kick up too high on him and to just protect that side. And I thought he did such a good job of that, better than I've ever seen. And I really think that this one swung with the baseline dynamic. I don't think it had to do with serve. I don't think it had to do with return. With that being said, I think that Tsitsipas's serving improvements that I've seen early this year were on full display. And I think that he didn't have necessarily the disadvantage in the serve return dynamic that he's sometimes had against Nadal. I still think that it was the baseline proceedings that really did decide this one. And I think the statistical evidence for that is that there was a 10% difference in Tsitsipas's ability, Tsitsipas's second serve win percentage to Nadal's second serve win percentage. Both were excellent on the first serve. Both used their forehands, and both were serving well, and that's mostly the recipe for success in that metric. But when it comes to the second serve, there was a really big discrepancy. Nadal won 58% of his second serve points, which is really good, by the way. But Tsitsipas won 69% of his second serve points, which is just out of this world. For there to be a 10% difference in second serve percent won, I think that is a good indication of what I was seeing, which was that what really changed from the first two sets to the latter two sets, with the third set wedged in between, what really changed for the most part was the dynamic from the baseline in the rallies. And by the way, if Nadal was going to flip that, Of course, A, match Tsitsipas's energy better, sure. B, not make those untimely errors, those crucial mistakes. I didn't even mention the passing shot at 1-2 in the fifth set that could have given him love 30, right? I didn't even mention that, but he did not have a good enough backhand day at all, not even close. He had 18 unforced errors on his backhand to 4 winners. The backhand is a shot that needs to be stable for Nadal, right? The forehand can make unforced errors because it's going to do the damage. It's going to be a net positive, but the backhand was plain and simple a net negative in this match. And again, I think Tsitsipas was really targeting it more heavily as the match went on, really using the heavy forehand cross-court angle to pull Nadal off the court. He was already tired. He was eating away at the legs, and to go from there. I thought it was night and day from the first 2 sets when Tsitsipas wasn't finding that sharp angle, going down the line really early, really quickly when there was no opening, and just getting counterattacked. It was one of the main dynamics that I think really changed in this match. All right. Apologies that this one was so late. It had to do with complete work, travel stuff, a nightmare, a flight getting canceled, having to drive to Louisville, Kentucky, which is 10 hours away from where I live in New York, and then having to drive back. So I wasn't able to watch this match until today, and it was bothering me that I couldn't get this out, but I'm glad that I could finally do it. Medvedev Tsitsipas tonight. I will be getting up for that one. So the recap video should come a lot sooner. Make sure you're following me on Twitter. The handle to follow is @Gill_Gross. And if you are a podcast listener, remember that Monday Match Analysis is available on all podcast platforms. Hope you enjoyed. Don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you next time.